Fever dub! Woo! Woo! Fever! Good dub. Ugly, but we found a way to win. Woo.
This revenge statistic will freeze you after the Atlanta Dream outmuscled and out-rebounded you in a close loss on May 20th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark totally changed the course of events. They limited Brittney Griner to only 5 points when she fouled out in their rematch on May 22nd, defeating the Dream 46-20 in the agony.
Hey, Steph. This question is for you. I just wanted to talk about what you saw out of your team that was different from Tuesday. Obviously, it's a quick turn, but how did you feel like your adjustments paid off on the court?
I felt like our defensive energy, physicality, disruptiveness was better. We made it more difficult for them, moving the ball around the perimeter. We executed better in our ball screen defense. Felt like we had each other's back a little bit more.
The same team that lost by a slim margin at home traveled to Atlanta and dominated in the most satisfying manner imaginable. This kind of rapid turnaround and adjustment demonstrates why the Fever team is prepared for championship runs. Stay tuned as we also break down the heated altercation between Clark and an Atlanta Dream player, including the shocking words that were exchanged between them. What did this victory reveal about Clark's capacity to manage a team with multiple all-stars and options at any given night? Leave a comment below to express your pride in the victory.
There's one thing this Indiana Fever team has shown us they will do this year. It's not quit on the game. The Indiana Fever down early, come back, take the lead. Down late, come back, take the lead. The only difference between tonight's outcome and Tuesday's outcome is a letter.
Imagine this: the Fever felt totally defeated by Atlanta only 2 days prior to their revenge game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The 91-90 loss wasn't simply another game that went by without any problems. It was the kind of loss that reveals everything is amiss with your team.
Yes, this stinks. We want to win this game. But, I think this is great for our team. A little adversity. How are we going to respond? How are we going to come in here tomorrow morning and watch the film and learn and get on the court and get better? And like I said, that's why this league is so great. You have a couple days and then you get right back to it. You find a way to respond. We have a chance to go there and play them, actually. So it's even better, I guess. We can, get a little redemption if we go down there and play well.
The result wasn't just any ordinary season loss. It revealed every flaw the Fever had been attempting to conceal. Atlanta outplayed them in ways that shouldn't have been conceivable on their home court, and the Dream outscored Indiana and outmuscled them in the paint, making it appear simple. With 21 points and no real response from the Fever due to her size and strength, Brittney Griner did exactly what everyone expected her to do against Indiana's smaller roster. The Dream shot 25 of 32 from the free throw line, while the Fever only managed 16 of 26. Some important missed free throws cost them the game. Ryan Howard scored 20 points, tearing away Indiana's defense from every aspect.
They shot 32 free throws. It's a lot of free throws. It's going to be difficult to win a lot of games when we foul people that much and put them at the line that much. It's tough. They made 25 out of 32. We still went to the line 26 times, missed 10. So that's the game really right there. It obviously doesn't come down to that, but it's just a little thing.
But this is what the majority of people overlooked regarding that loss. After the game, Coach Stephanie White acknowledged, "I don't feel like we match up well with them." She saw the Dream's Olympians' perimeter skills, their size, and their experience. The Fever weren't just losing, they were also studying. However, White and her team were already organizing an alternative strategy.
Proud of our fight, the toughness that we showed, our ability to stay together. Our bench was really engaged in every timeout and in every huddle. We were all engaged.
The players left the locker room feeling different than normal following a defeat, but the 48 hours in between games would transform everything. That heartbreaking home loss served as the catalyst for one of the season's most satisfying road victories. The question wasn't whether the team would recover, but rather how they would hold Atlanta accountable for humiliating them at home.
Tuesday, we couldn't seal the deal. We lost it at the free throw line. Tonight, we sealed the deal. Tonight, we took the lead late in the fourth after being down 75-71 with 3 minutes left. We take the lead and we don't look back. The Indiana Fever leave the ATL with an 81-76 victory, and this game was pretty. Man, this game was pretty ugly.
For the first time since January 13th, 2022, Caitlin Clark's 11 points were significantly below her typical range, going 0 for 5 from three-point range and shooting only 4 of 11 from the field. This would have horrified Fever supporters only months before. Clark failed to make a three-pointer during her game, which was the first time since her sophomore year at Iowa that she had done so.
What a win for the Indiana Fever against the Atlanta Dream. Good teams win ugly. And that was what was most impressive to me about the Fever's performance against the Dream.
When your star player struggles like this on the road, most teams are likely going to lose badly. Clark received 5 personal fouls, which limited her effectiveness on both ends of the court and kept her off the floor during pivotal moments. Any team that relied only on their star player would have failed in these situations.
But getting in foul trouble early, I think, messed up her rhythm, and she didn't really have her legs, because it certainly was one of the worst performances of Clark's career from a production standpoint offensively. First time in her career she didn't hit a 3. So nothing to write home about from Cece. But that's okay, right? Even when, that's happening, game's on the line, she's got the basketball. She's got the basketball, manipulates the defense, gets it to AB, who puts it away.
However, this is when the 2025 Fever revealed that they had changed into something entirely unanticipated. With a game-high 26 points on an unbelievable 12 of 17 shooting effort, Natasha Howard came through.
Shout out to Natasha Howard, I will say. You didn't have a good game last game. You bounced back today. If I'm the Atlanta Dream coach, I'm going into tonight with a game plan. Folks, make Natasha Howard beat us. Don't let Caitlin Clark beat us. Don't let Kelsey Mitchell beat us. Don't let Aaliyah Boston beat us. Make Natasha Howard beat us. And Natasha Howard, she took on that challenge and she came through. Let's just think back a year ago. Who's that going to be? Katie Lou? Nope. Erica Wheeler? Nope. Nalissa Smith, you make me laugh.
Her awful effort against Atlanta was totally overshadowed by this one. Howard scored 18 points in the second half, including 13 important points in the third quarter, and pulled down 7 rebounds while seizing control when the team needed it most.
That's why we at least go out and get somebody like a Natasha Howard that when Caitlin Clark, Kelsey, and AB aren't hitting, when Caitlin Clark, Kelsey, and AB are getting hoed with fouls, there's somebody there that's competent offensively that can keep us in the game. And Natasha Howard, you did just that. 26 points, 7 rebounds. Way to go, Natasha Howard.
With 9 points and 6 rebounds in just 20 minutes of play, Sophie Cunningham made her comeback from an ankle injury appear seamless. She also made her first three-pointer of the season and started an 11-0 run that put the Fever back in the lead. Her debut gave the court a boost of energy on both ends, and she even drew an offensive foul in the closing seconds, demonstrating that her influence extended beyond the stat sheet. Lexi Hull maintained her impressive season by dishing out 4 assists and scoring 10 vital points off the bench, setting a career high for overall output. Her performance demonstrated that the depth everyone had doubted was true, and the bench turned into a strength rather than a hindrance.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull are the real deal. That's what it does look like. It looks like these two off the bench, you can name whoever you want. These two ladies off the bench are going to be the most impactful duo in the WNBA, hands down. Hands down, these two are going to be the most impactful duo in the WNBA off the bench. They bring the energy, they bring the heat, they're able to score, they play defense.
The bench scored 16 points more than Atlanta's bench. This was a total opposite of their last battle, in which they enjoyed a significant advantage due to the profundity of their fantasies. Cunningham and Hull were among the players who made vital defensive and scoring contributions. Everyone watching could see the Fever's increased depth and versatility. This wasn't just a team victory. It was evidence that the team had developed into a real threat with a variety of weapons at their disposal. When one player faltered, 3 others filled the void, and the supporting cast not only made it through Clark's off night, they flourished during it.
Stephanie White, folks, we were up 3 points in the last minute. Stephanie White puts Sophie and Lexi, and they say, press. In the last minute, Stephanie White says, Sophie, Lexi, press. Don't make it easy on them. Don't let them get into their offense. We got to hassle them. We got to haggle them. We got to get on them. We need to force them to make decisions before they want to. And Sophie and Lexi did just that. Those two, great job tonight.
In reality, something more significant than any individual achievement this team might make was made clear by Clark's problems. The Fever demonstrated that they had all of these attributes in a single road game against a top opponent. Brittney Griner entered the game expecting to do what she always does to smaller teams. Championship teams require multiple players who can take over games, depth that can handle adversity, and role players who can turn into stars when the situation calls for it. At 6 feet 9 inches, Griner should have been the most formidable player on the field. She had previously shown her mettle against Indiana in their first encounter, and everyone knew Atlanta would frequently and early feed her the ball.
That's toughness on display. Fighting through it. It ain't always going to go your way. And then, like I said, some of the new players. I think Natasha Howard was excellent in this game. She was excellent in this game. And there were some, connections between her and Clark. Then there was Sophie Cunningham, who was also back for the first time, who's just an excellent all-around basketball player. And you can see it here. Clark with the get-ahead to Cunningham and the finish. I mean, Cece's just such a gifted passer.
Coach Stephanie White recognized the matchup difficulties her team faced against the Dream, especially because of Atlanta's size advantage with players like Brianna Jones and Griner. She underlined the need for the Fever to use their depth and versatility to counter the Dream's size. The Fever lacked a traditional center who could match her. This tactical change became essential for the rematch, but then an odd thing began to happen. Every time Griner touched the ball, Indiana players surrounded her from all sides. The Fever's defensive strategy was pure chaos theory. Players rotated frequently, double teams appeared from unexpected places, and they sent help from positions that made no sense for basketball.
Damaris Dantas, 17 minutes. Yeah, 1 for 5. Stephanie White, again, to her credit. Did you see what she did today with Dantas? Did you see what she did tonight with Dantas? Brittney Griner, are you in? You're in? Cool, Dantas, get in there. Brittney Griner, you're out? Cool, Dantas, get out. Brittney Griner, you're coming back in? Cool, Dantas, get back in. Griner, you're out? Dantas, you're done here.
In order to disrupt Griner's rhythm and make her work harder for every point, the Fever's defensive strategy involved what Coach White referred to as a collective effort. They demonstrated a willingness to be physical during every possession and every time Griner got the ball, turning it into a physical battle. Her frustration increased with each missed shot and whistle. The referees weren't giving her the calls she expected. Her shots became more difficult. Her rhythm was disrupted, and the wear and tear began to show on every possession. This defensive intensity was a noticeable improvement from the first game, as the team outscored the Dream 41-37, a massive turnaround from their previous meeting when they held Atlanta to just 76 points in their home turf.
I felt like our depth came into play there, being able to go to our bench and bring a different defensive coverage and intensity level, and that allowed us to get out in transition. I mean, we're going to be at our best when we're in transition, and I felt like in that second quarter we were able to get out a little bit.
The inevitable occurred with 338 seconds remaining in the game when Brittney fouled out against the Fever with just 5 points and 7 rebounds. This was the second time this season that she had done so, and it was evident how efficient Indiana's defensive scheme was. Atlanta's game plan fell apart the instant their star player walked to the bench in foul trouble with their dominant big out, reducing the Dream's ability to score in the paint and completely disrupting their offensive flow. The Fever had successfully neutralized the Dream's biggest weapon with pure determination and team defense, forcing her into difficult situations throughout the game and turning every possession into a battle. When the Fever needed her most, their main scoring threat was gone. Thus, they ended the game with confidence.
Brittney Griner tried to post up Damaris and failed to post up Damaris. She tried to move Damaris off the block on defense. She failed to move Damaris off the block on defense. Damaris Dantas isn't only a big body, she's a strong SOB. And Brittney Griner found that out firsthand tonight.
Following a hard foul, the players began talking, and the cameras captured Clark saying something that perfectly captured her mindset at that precise moment. With tensions already running high in this revenge game, Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard found themselves in a heated face-to-face exchange that demonstrated exactly what kind of competitor Clark really is.
Let's start with the one that's going to be shared everywhere.
Let's begin with the one that will be discussed everywhere. Howard, the 2022 first overall pickback, was attempting to scare the sophomore during a pivotal road game. She was assigned to protect Clark all night, making every possession physical. The veteran was testing the young player's mental toughness, as veterans do. When established players want to see what young stars are made of, this type of challenge occurs frequently.
Look, Ryan Howard was up in her grill all game, and there's the bump, there's the physical challenge there, and some words. Some words for Clark. But if you can see, Clark has some words back, and those words, if you lip read appropriately, or it seems like from the lip readers out there, were, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not scared of you. I'm sorry."
However, Clark gave her a direct look and exclaimed, "I'm not afraid of you," with the assurance that distinguishes stars from superstars. During the conversation, she pressed her shoulder against Howard's chest. Clark then gave Howard a sardonic thumbs up, demonstrating that she wasn't backing down from anyone. The incident was caught on tape and instantly went viral on social media.
"I'm not scared of you." With that, and that's competing. That's good basketball. That's fine. Howard wanted the challenge. I loved it. I love that. You just can't let, people play Clark like they're bumping her at the line of scrimmage and not call a foul. You got to call those fouls. Get them in foul trouble.
This was more than just trash talk. It was a vow that the young core of the Fever would no longer be bullied. Clark's response showed her colleagues that they belonged on this stage by demonstrating how to deal with pressure from more seasoned players who were attempting to scare them. Following the exchange, the State Farm Arena audience grew louder. The game became more physical on both ends, and both teams began to play with playoff intensity. The environment became electrifying as the emotional fire from that moment flowed to every player on the floor.
Overall, it was the response from the Fever that impressed me the most to come away with this win. I said the last game was an impressive loss because things didn't go right and they were almost there and they came back. And this is sort of the, same side of that coin.
Even veteran players like Natasha Howard responded to Clark's energy and showed that she was prepared to fight for every possession. Even on a night where her shots weren't falling, Clark was still finding ways to influence, winning through toughness and leadership. She scored just 11 points and went 0 for 5 from three-point range, but her willingness to take on Howard demonstrated that her influence went far beyond statistics and that she was displaying a champion mentality.
It's huge, and again, our depth and our ability to play different lineups, our ability to lift one another up if we don't have it. I mean, I thought Damaris Dantas was huge for us when AB got in foul trouble, and it's easy to look at numbers, but what she brought in terms of her ability to move the ball, her defensive physicality was huge. Obviously what Lexi and Sophie bring for us, and even Sid, and she hadn't played the whole game, and we throw her in there in some time and score situations. We have a team that we can go 11 deep.
The team thrived on Clark's energy and confidence, playing with more aggression on defense and attacking the rim with greater purpose on offense. Championship teams need players who won't back down from anyone, and Clark simply demonstrated that she was built for those moments. Despite only being a sophomore, her response to Howard's challenge showed that she has the mental toughness to lead this team to titles. That exchange became the emotional turning point where the Fever proved they belonged on the biggest stages. The incident made clear why the Fever thought they could compete with any team in the league.
We talk a lot about some days it's going to be your day, someday it's not, right? We have to choose the we over the me, and we have to stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Every single person that impacted this game in a positive way, and I'm really proud of them.
With depth, toughness, and several ways to win, The Indiana Fever turned from a rebuilding team into a serious championship contender after this revenge victory in Atlanta. They restricted the Dream to only 36% shooting from the floor and outscored Atlanta in the paint. Four separate players scored in double figures between 46 and 20. This squad is prepared for anything 2025 holds, as evidenced by their dominance on the road even if their best player didn't have her finest game. To show how proud you are of the victory, leave a comment below for the Fever and turn on all notifications so you never miss it. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one. Clark went scoreless from three-point range, but the Fever still won by double digits, which is championship-level depth.